Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 5, module 5. We're in the home stretch. We have 2 more modules to go after this week. So again, if you are still working on first 4 modules or any aspects of those first 4 modules, that's fine. Just continue doing what you need to do. You still have a good 3 weeks or so until everything is due. So anyhow, this week, responsible student citizenship. So let's go over to our deliverables list and see what we have to do this week. And we're going to have our usual module journal, explore your experiences, where you'll have a little quiz this week on diversity, civility, and respect. Then you have a little activity on implicit bias, or you can choose to do some sort of video or it says poem. You don't have to necessarily do a poem. You can just pretty much do whatever you want. This is your experience. And then there's a discussion board as well. Couple of weeks ago, module 3, you had a checkpoint for your capstone project, and several of you did excellent with that. As far as I'm concerned, you're looking good. So keep doing whatever you're doing. You can tweak a few things if you need to, or just submit that what you did for module 3. You can even go ahead and submit it if you feel like you're done. You can go all the way down to module 7 and submit your assignment that way in the Dropbox. Or I think there's a discussion board. You can also put it in. But again, or you can email it to me. You can do it however you want. So anyway, let's get into module 5. So not a heck of a lot this week. Just a couple of more kind of building on your growth mindset that you already have coming into this particular course. So let's get right to it. We scroll down. There's a Gateway's mission. There's a short video as well. I believe Oliver, our Gateway to Success leader, put that together. So you can certainly watch that. There's another video on responsible citizenship by Sarah Marbs. You can also watch that if you'd like. In fact, I'd recommend really that you watch all of those videos. And then there's a document. You see the hyperlink there, diversity all around us. There are some terms in here that maybe, I'm sure you've probably heard all of these terms, maybe you weren't quite sure what they meant. So you'll want to go through and read some of the basic definitions of diversity, race, ethnicity. Very informative. As you go through that, you may find that what you thought some of these meant maybe aren't necessarily the reality. So, which again gets into one of the activities that you're welcome to do on implicit bias. Anyway, go back over there. Also a short video under the surface and your experience. So the first real activity that you'll do, typically we do this at the end of a module, but for this particular week, you're going to do it at the beginning. Explore your experiences. So again, if you've watched these videos, it'll help you, I think, answer a lot of these questions a little bit easier. So this is a 3-2-1 reflection assignment. So you want to briefly discuss 3 things you learned as you look through those resources. And that includes this diversity. Maybe all 3 items you learned came from this particular document. And then you also want to list a couple of observations or questions that you've made about yourself, diversity, identities, or inclusions that you would like to learn more about. And then lastly, one or the other of these, if you had to choose a resource from your experience playlist to recommend, which one would it be? So what of the resources did you prefer or kind of caught your eye? And if you don't want to do that, you can share a resource that's not listed on the playlist. Maybe you found one or know of one or researched one. You can put that URL or web address in there as well. So anyway, that's your Module 5 experience. Oh, and by the way, just to go into the journal, I've had a few of you have reached out and asked how to do a journal entry. There's a spot up here says create journal entry, so you can click that and it'll open up a text box, and you can either type right into the text box. Some of you I've noticed, which is perfectly fine, you type into a Word document or a Google Doc, and then you attach that the same way you would do an assignment. All right, let's go back. Go back again. We'll get there. Maybe. There we go. Okay. And then there's a little quiz, Module 5 quiz. I know what the four-letter word, the quiz, test, exam, that tend to get students a little bit on edge. So that's definitely not the case here. It's not a gotcha moment or anything like that. We're really just asking you a series of questions based on this slide presentation here. So you can right click and open the link in a new tab, I believe. There we go. And then you can hit begin. Now, it's got one question per page, and it has the slideshow with the information that you're going to need right above there for each question. However, since you have it in a different tab, you can also go back and look in here. You can even open it in Google Slides if you want a larger, there we go. If you want a larger version of it, you can open it in Google Slides. You can even click slideshow and it'll then hit space bar. You can go through and look at it that way. It's a little more difficult to go back and forth, of course, to do your quiz, but certainly a lot of options there for you. So take your time going through that. It's a short quiz. And then a little practice activity. Again, you have two options. Option A, who I am poem. In this activity, you can think about influences that have shaped who you are, your identity, whether it's what what we see on the outside and who you're becoming as a student and heading into being a professional, or whether it's who you are in your away from school or your professional life, or a combination of the two. So you can write or record. It says 10 to 20 line poem. You can just write a series of sentences. I am, and just list or discuss all of the different adjectives or descriptors that talk about who you are regionally, ethnically, religiously, and so on, if you're comfortable with that. What interests and hobbies make you, any mottos or phrases or credos you live by, family traditions, customs, just whatever defines who you are. And I put a sample in here as well that you can take a look at. Yeah, that's it. So again, you don't have to. Oftentimes we think of a poem as being, something that rhymes and everything ends in a uh, similar fashion, but yeah, that's not the case for this. Yeah, so you can do something along those lines, or you can watch this video, and it discusses what's called implicit bias. And these are, in essence, kind of a lot of our learned behaviors. We talked about growth and fixed mindset earlier in this course. And there are certain implicit biases that we are maybe unaware of that again are oftentimes learned attitudes or behaviors or thought patterns uh, from family, peers, from school, whatever it might be. Those situations and experiences that shape who we are. It doesn't mean that they're good. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they exist and that they are what makes you who you are today. So you can watch that video. You can read a little bit about the IAT questionnaire, some frequently asked questions as well. And I mean, and you can do both of these if you'd like. It's totally up to you. I'll give you double the credit if you do both of them. So um, anyhow, you can go to this link, and instructions for starting the test and downloading your results can be found here. So I have a little document that you can open that kind of discusses and goes through how this implicit association test activity works. Okay. And then reflect on, answer, to do 8 to 10 sentences. You can do 4 or 5 or 6, however many you want. But you can answer these questions or comment any way you like based on the results. So go through and take that or do the Who I Am activity, either way, or do them both. Okay. Okay. And let's see, discussion board. Citizenship, civility, equity, and inclusion. We're in a great situation nationally, regionally, locally, and certainly within Gateway. As far as diversity, equity, and inclusion is concerned, there are many factors, again, that mold each and every one of us as individuals. And it's amazing that collectively we're able to function at a pretty high rate with each other, whether it be while we're at work, whether we're out with our families, out shopping, or just generally doing whatever activities that might involve interacting with other people. So, most of you are probably Generation X or Millennials or Generation Z, and you probably have had quite a bit of exposure to a variety of different individuals and groups of individuals. So these activities and these questions that we discuss for all of you, most of you, some of you may seem to be pretty simple and obvious, and that's a good thing. That means you are in a growth mindset and you see the world for what it is, and that diversity, equity, and inclusion are important aspects of who we are as a community. So anyhow, go through the discussion board and you can choose any one of these options. And again, you don't have to be confined to just one. If you want to do more than one, or if you want to research more than one, but only talk about one, that's totally up to you. But anyhow, you have several options. A lot of students like the balconies and basement activity. Just I mean, you have a lot to pick from, but that's one that I do see quite frequently. Um, so anyway, you have lots of options. So um, the read through gives you some more details as to um, what the expectations are for that. And all of you in your discussion board posts are doing excellent, by the way. Being civil and professional seem to be uh, attributes that all of you had coming into Gateway to Success. So I appreciate that, and keep it going. All right, and then lastly, and then you can get to it, is again the kind of a checkpoint for your moment of meaning capstone project. So again, some of you for module 3, most of you that submitted something, you can submit something a little bulkier or submit the same thing. There are a few questions that you can certainly look at, or they're not questions, but there are a few links that you can look at if you decide that you want to do some sort of a video. But anyhow, and then lastly, a couple more DEI videos that you can take a look at. But other than that, great work through 4 weeks. We're into week 5. You guys are all doing a wonderful job. So keep it up. And if you have questions, please send me an email and we'll take care of whatever it is you need help with.